All right, good morning, everyone. Here we are back with the shed again, and we are going to work on developing our other side wall and our other end wall. So the beauty of a CAD program is it helps to eliminate time. And by using this program, we want to be able to maximize the amount of time we're working on this project, so that way we're not having to repeat a bunch of steps. To do that, I'm going to show you guys how to replicate our other side wall, so that way we don't have to redraw the whole thing from scratch. And this is the easiest way to replicate this thing without having to draw the entire wall from scratch. What you want to do is you want to position your wall to where it's pretty much a straight on view at this point. So we can see here, if I'm looking at my wall, it's pretty much a straight on view. And the way I can tell that is, well, the bottom of my foundation is actually pretty much level with the bottom of the window here. If it's not level, if it's angled, that means our back wall is not straight. So we want to make sure we position this thing in a way to where the bottom of our foundation is pretty much dead even with the bottom of our window. I'm going to show you why here in a second. So that's pretty good right there. I'm going to zoom a little bit further. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to select the entire back wall. Now you have to be careful the direction you select this thing. For example, if I start from the top left-hand corner, I select down like this, it doesn't select everything that I want. It only selects majority of the items that are in the selection screen, okay? However, if I select from the top bottom corner up like this, it selects anything that is in the selection window. But if I select top down, once again, it only selects the majority of the items that are actual full instances. So if I carefully select this, hopefully it only selects the solid features. So now if I can rotate around, I can see here, hopefully, that it selected my wall, but it didn't select my back surface here. So that means I'll have to come in and I'll have to reselect my wall again. So I want to position this thing once again. And I want to position this where the bottom of my wall is parallel once again. And I'm actually going to want to go from the bottom right up. So I'm going to get pretty close to the bottom here. And I want to go from the bottom corner here all the way up, but I don't want to select the side wall at all. So we can see here, once I've done this, I've selected everything here. If I rotate it around, it's still selected, so that's what's good. All right. So now we have the whole wall selected, all the structural numbers selected. Now we want to copy that wall and paste it. To copy it, I'm going to type in Control-C on the keyboard. So I'm going to hold Control and hit C. So Control-C for copy. It doesn't show anything, but trust me, it's copied. Because now what I can do is I can hit Control-V, and sure enough, my wall pops up over here. Now it's asking me to locate my wall, but the problem is I locate this wall in here right now, it's backwards. So we actually want to rotate this wall around, so that way it uses the side that we want to reference on. So I'm going to place that off the shed for now. I'm going to come over to the move command over here. I'm going to click rotate. After I click rotate, I'm going to go on the top of my wall, and I want to make sure my protractor is in the blue position. I'm going to click anywhere on top of my face wall here. Now it's in blue position. Click, and then I'm going to go straight out to give myself a starting direction. I usually go with the red line to start with. Click a second time for the red line, and then bring it around, and then click it once you get a 180-degree rotation. It'll snap to the red line like that. Now that we have our red line snapped to our wall, now we can actually place our wall. So now that we can place our wall, we want to find a point that's the same on both parts here. So we can see here that if I were to look at this corner of my shed here, that same point is the same as this corner right here. So I'm going to go back to the move command, and it may not be the same as yours. Yours may have a different point that's the same. So you want to try to find a move point that's the same point here as it is on here. And the reason why, I'm going to show you here in a second. Because if you have the same move point, you're going to go click on move. I'm going to click this corner here, and I want to move that to that corner there. And if I did this right, and if I rotate this thing around now, we can see here that my wall should go all the way down, and it does. And we can see here I have my top plate in place. I have my other top plate here, and we can see how my wall is supposed to look. Hopefully it has all my framing members on the inside, and it does. So that is great news, which means that I'm ready to do the next step now. Now that I have my second far wall done, I can actually put my end wall in. Now my end wall on this building is actually going to have a window in it. I'm going to show you how to do the window here in a second. But before I do that, I want to draw in my wall to start with, okay? So I'm going to draw in just a square, and I can literally draw my square in from corner to corner. So I'm going to go from this corner here all the way up to this corner here. It then fills everything in, which is good. It's exactly what I want. However, I don't want this surface. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down to erase. Now I have my far wall in, everything's covered. Now I want to put my thickness in for my wall. So I'm going to use the push-pull feature, and I'm going to drag this into my, well, not quite that far. I'll zoom in some farther. So I'm going to click and drag this into that line there, which means I now have a 3.5 inch thick wall. Now we remember that from drawing this thing before that, well, we have an issue here. It looks like it didn't actually fill this in. So let's redraw our square on the outside from corner to corner one more time, and then I'll fill that back in, and that's good. So that's what we're looking for. All right. Now, when we're doing this thing, we still need to draw our frame in, because like right now we have just a solid wall. This is essentially taking a solid block of wood, and it's not showing us an actual frame structure on the inside. So we want to draw our actual frame in. To do that, first step we want to do is we want to draw in our window. So we want to draw our window in smack in the middle. We're going to draw in a 2.0 by 2.0 window. The referencing that we refer to is 2.0 by 2.0. That just means 2 foot by 2 foot. So I'm going to draw in a 2 foot by 2 foot window. It's going to be centered here. So knowing it's going to be centered, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw from the midpoint here up 80 inches, which indicates our header height. Okay. Now we know our window height. We want it to be centered. We're going to go 12 inches in one direction. We're then going to go 24 inches down for 2 feet. We're going to go 24 inches across for the 2 feet, 24 inches back up, and then across like that. Now that we have our window, we can start putting our frame in. Before we do that, though, I need to come in and I need to erase the lines that we're not going to need anymore. I also need to put in the exterior frame for our wall. In case you guys are wondering how I pan like this, so the roller wheel on my mouse allows me to rotate. It allows me to zoom in and out. But if I hold the shift key on the keyboard and then click the roller wheel to drag it, that allows me to pan this thing around and makes it a lot easier to use. Okay. All right, back to the offset. So we're going to go offset our frame to create our frame. Our offset command is underneath our push-pull feature. It's right there. We're going to click offset. We're going to come to the inside. We're going to offset that by 1.5 inches, enter. Now we have our frame drawn in. Now we have our frame drawn in, we can start drawing in other parts of our window. So I want to draw in my king studs first. So I'm going to draw in the edge of one king stud, and I'm going to draw in the edge of another king stud. I'm then going to draw a small line over this direction, 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to draw a line straight down another 1.5 inches to the bottom here. Okay. I'm going to draw my other king stud in here. So I'm going to draw my edge here. All right. I'm going to draw my other edge going up like that. I'm then going to draw back over 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to draw straight down again. Now that I have my king studs in, I can start drawing in my trimmers and my cripples. So the first thing I want to do is I want to draw my windowsill in. So my windowsill, we need to keep this exactly 2 feet by 2 feet. So I'm going to draw on the bottom of my windowsill, which will be 1.5 inches down. So I'm going to draw in 1.5 inches down, and then I'm going to draw across like that. Oh, not there. Didn't want that one. So I'm going to draw across from there all the way across like that. Now that I have my windowsill in, I can put my trimmers in. So my trimmers are going to go another 1.5 inches in. So 1.5 inches, and then straight down. Okay, and once again, 1.5 inches in here, and then straight down again. Okay, I want to put my beam in next. So I'm going to put my beam in, that's going to be 5.5 inches tall. So I'm going to go 5.5. There we go. I'm going to draw my beam across like that for my header. So that's my header. I next want to put my cripples in up on top. So I'm going to draw 1.5 inches in, so 1.5. I'm going to draw in my cripple here. I'm going to draw in my cripple here. And then that's going to go from there straight up. And now I want to draw in my cripple in the middle underneath my windowsill. So I'm going to go for my midpoint. But the problem is our middle cripple has to be centered in the middle of the building, which means we cannot draw 1.5 inches. We have to draw from the midpoint over 0.75 inches, 3/4 of an inch. And what that does is that will allow our cripple to be centered in the building. And now we've got this one in, we can draw in 1.5 over there, draw in the edge of our cripple here. And the reason why we're putting this in is because when we put siding on here, the siding will actually split this piece in half, and we need to have both units of the siding over the top of the cripple here. And this will all make more sense later when we go over it. We're also going to put the cripple in up here as well. So we're going to line up this blue line to go up like that. And we're then going to line this blue line from here. That's going to go straight up like that. So now we have our cripples in from our top. We have our header. We have our trimmers underneath our windowsill. We have our windowsill there and our cripple in the middle. Now that we have our frame drawn in, we can actually start drawing in the rest of our studs. So we want to come 16 inch on center from the edge. So once again, if we're doing 16 inch on center from the edge, that means we got to take off, let's see, so 16 inches on center. We're going to take off, oh, what was it? We want to go 16 from edge, so we're going to come back 3/4 of an inch, and actually 1.5 inches. So I'm going to measure this thing again. I believe it's 13 3/4. So I'm going to go 13 1/4, 13.25. All right. So we're going to go from there up to the top here. All right, and then we're going to go from here over 1.5 inches. And then from there, we're going to go straight down to like that. Now I can come in and erase some of the features that I don't need. So I don't need this little line here. I don't need this little line here. Okay, now if I did this right, I should be able to measure from the center of this to the edge of this. Come on. And it's not wanting to go. So let's try this again. So let's go from the center here, over like that, and it's still not wanting to go. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I believe if I did this right, though, it should be the same as the front. So if I measure the front here, if I measure from this gap, actually, let's go from this edge here to the edge of the wall there, which will give us 11 3/4. So this one should also be 11 3/4 from here to here, 11 1/4. So I'll move it over 1/2 inch. Okay, so it's 13 3/4, it looks like. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to move that back eventually, but I'm going to draw my other side in first. So I'm going to draw this side in here, 13 3/4. I guess I was right eventually. 13.75. There we go. So once I have that in, I can take that and draw it straight up. Like that. From that point, go over 1.5 inches. And then from that 1.5 inch point, we're going to come back down to right there. Click the erase button, and now I can erase that. I'm going to come back here and modify these. Once I'm going to erase those, I'm going to click my draw command. I'm going to go with 13.75 again, and then I'm going to click that and go straight up to the top there. And from that over 1.5. And from that straight back down to there. All right. Remember, all dimensions I'm typing in are coming up down there. So if you don't know where the dimension's at, always take a look down here in the corner and it'll show you where the dimensions should be at. All right, so now that I've put those in, the next step for me is to draw in my 16-inch on center. So I'm going to draw from here over 16 inches. I'm going to draw 16 inches. And then I'm going to go from there, okay? And that's going to go straight up to there. And I'm going to go back over this direction, 1.5. Go from there, nope. And we go from there straight down to the bottom. I'm gonna do the same thing on the middle one here. I'm gonna do 16 inches from the edge here. So I'm gonna go from there over 16 inches. And from there, I can go straight up. So from there, I can go straight up to this one, go 1.5. All right, and I'm gonna go from there straight back down to there. Now I can use my push-pull command to push-pull my features through. So if I use the push-pull command underneath the move, underneath offset, it's gonna be right there. Push-pull this all the way across until it lines up, hopefully. And let's see if it works for the other ones. There we go, that one. So let's try this one again. Pull this through. Come on, let's do this. Make it work for me. It will have, oh, it worked. There we go. I just didn't see it. I'll do the same thing with this one. Push, pull it through. So it works. There we go. For this one, push, pull this one through. Try this again. There we go. All right, I'm gonna push, pull this one through. Push, pull this one through. And push, pull this one through. And push, pull this one through. And lastly, I'm gonna push, pull this one through. And actually, not last one, I lied. We're gonna push, pull this through. And then this one. And then this one. There we go. Now we have our framework. The problem we have here is we only have a single top plate and we don't have a double top plate like we do on this one. So we actually want to bring each one of these down 1.5 inches. It's a 1.5. 1.5. We'll do the same with the other ones. Actually, we can bring that down to just a match. There we go. Bring it down to match. Bring it down to match. And bring it down to match. And a couple more times. There we go. And once more there. All right. Now we have our double top plate in. We have our header. We have our king studs. We have our cripples, even though it looks weird on here, but that's okay. It'll still work. Now, the last thing we have to do is draw on our siding. Siding is just like how we drew it on the front wall. We're going to start on the top plane here. We're going to draw a 48-inch long by half-inch wide square. So we're going to start by drawing in our square, which is going to be 48 inches this way. So we're going to type in 48 inches, comma, 0.5 inch. There we go. Now we can push-pull that down. So I'm going to click the push-pull command. I'm going to grab a hold of that guy right there. And I'm going to bring that all the way down to here. I'm going to do the same thing. And here's what I was talking about with the siding. You can see here the siding is splitting this stud right here, and that's what we want. The reason we want that is because the siding has to get nailed into this stud as well as the siding coming in from the other side. So now I'm going to draw in my other rectangle. So I'm going to draw my rectangle in this direction. Actually, I can bring it all the way over to that edge there. That's good. So now, once again, I can click the push-pull command. And I want to find my bottom edge here, which is right there. I'm going to bring that all the way down to there. There we go. Now I can go on the inside. I'm going to push pull this window through like that and like that. And now we have a cutout for our window. We can see where our siding pieces are. And now let's start adding in some texturing. So now we can start adding in an actual siding appearance. And I believe we can do that with the paint command. So let's use the paint command. And there are options for texture here. I moved that over. And I forget where the options are, but let's go ahead and just give it like a maroon look for our siding for now. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, let's put brown. That's somewhat more palatable. Okay, so we'll do that for our siding. There we go. Siding. So we went with the brown siding, and what we should do also is color in our lumber on the inside here as well. Color in our lumber to make sure it actually looks like it's lumber, because we want this stuff to actually look like it's lumber, like I said. So we're going to color in our lumber. I'm going to move this back out of the way, and I want to finish coloring in my lumber here. And then I should be able to come in on the sides of my lumber here as well. This may take some playing around. You don't have to color everything in. It's just like my OCD is watching this, and my OCD tells me, yes, you have to color everything in. Otherwise, it won't look right. Just make sure you don't color in the siding, because the siding is technically going to be a different color on the inside than it is on the outside. So I'm going to color in these. Okay. I'm going to finish coloring in the bottom there and there. Color in these ones. There. Same thing across the bottom as well. All right, now that I have those ones colored, let's do a 180-degree flip. Okay. Let's finish coloring in our studs. All right, let's color in these ones. So we have to go the other direction as well. And you can see here, I missed a whole bunch on the back side. That's okay. I can come in and color those as well. And let's finish coloring those in. There we go. All right, so color those in. And let's color these ones in finally. Let's position this thing in a way where we can see everything. All right, and we can still finish coloring in these studs as well. Wow, I missed a whole bunch, it looks like. Huh. All right, let's finish coloring these in so that way they actually look like studs now. Or it looks like wood, I mean. There we go. All right, I think that is all that is colored. That's to be colored in. You can come in here and color in the siding if you want to. You can actually put some over that later, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But hopefully all the studs are colored in at this point. So we can see here we have our door opening. We have our header on top. We have our trimmer on each side. We have our king stud next to that, and our stud next to each one. You can see we have our studs on our main wall there. And we can see here we have our studs on the inside of our back wall. And I forgot to color in one little spot apparently. There we go. Okay, and that's it for this one. So go ahead and get your wall frames finished, sided, painted, and make sure you get a screenshot. I'd like to see two different screenshots on this one. I'd like to see a screenshot from this angle so you can see the front and the back and the inside, rotate it around 180 degrees, and do a screenshot from this angle as well so we can see all the other features. Okay, all right, that's it for today. Make sure you get this thing checked off, and that's it. Thanks, guys.